Hello friends, I am Dr. Madhukar Jadhav. In previous lecture, we have studied regarding sludge thickening and sludge dewatering, in which we have seen regarding gravity thickeners and sludge drying beds for taking out the water from the sludge. In this lecture, we are going to study regarding conventional digester, then high rate digester, design details for these digesters, disposal of treated sludge, and finally upflow anaerobic sludge banquet reactors. So, starting with conventional or low rate or standard rate digester. The conventional sludge digestion is carried out in a single stage where digestion sludge thickening and supernatant formation takes place simultaneously in the same unit. In this, raw sewage is fed into the digester intermittently. Bubble of sewage gas are generated and their rise to surface provides some mixing, but otherwise digestion content remains unmixed. It results in forming 4 layers. First layer is floating layer of scum, second layer is of layer of supernatant, third layer is layer of actively digesting sludge, and the fourth layer is bottom layer of digested sludge. The decomposition restricted to a middle and the bottom layer stabilized, which accumulates and thickened at the bottom of the tank is periodically drawn off from the center of the floor. The supernatant is removed from the side of the digester and recycled back to the treatment plant. The cross section of a typical standard rate digester is shown in the figure. The raw sewage is fed into the digester through the pipe which terminate near the center of the tank. The gas produced during the process of digestion is collected in the dome shaped top portion of the tank and taken out through a gas pipe. The content of the digester are usually unheated and unmixed in case of standard rate digester. However, the content of the digester are mechanically stirrer and revolving arms dipping little below the scum level, equipped with a vertical fingers. The required detention period for these digester vary from 30 to 60 days in which digestion of the sludge takes place. So, this is the figure which is cylindrical in shape. So, through this pipe the raw sludge is given to the digester, and this is the zone called as active digestion zone. Now, in this zone digestion of the sludge takes place, and whatever the water in the sludge is there, it takes the place called as supernatant, and other floating matters will take place as a scum layer, and these two are taken out through these two pipes. Then at the time of digestion the gases are produced, and these gases are taken in this dome shaped and they are taken out through this pipe, and whatever the digested sludge is there, it is accumulated at the bottom and periodically it is taken out through this pipe. Sometimes heating is required, so here there is a heating arrangement. Through this heating arrangement sludge is heated so that whatever the different bacteria are there, their rate of digestion will get increased. Next slide. Second type of digester is high rate digester. These digesters are more efficient and often requires less volume than the low rate digester. The sludge is more or less continuously added and vigorously mixed either mechanically or recirculating a portion of digestion gases through a compressor. Mechanical mixing ensures better contact between the organics and the microorganism. This unit is heated to increase the metabolic rate of microorganism, and optimum temperature is around 35 degrees centigrade. High rate digestion system normally consists of two tanks in series. First stage is intended for complete mixing and heating, while the second stage digester mainly separates the digested solids from the supernatant liquor. Although additional digestion and gas recovery may take place in the second stage. The required digestion period for this digester is about 10 to 20 days. Often a combination of standard rate and high rate digester is achieved in two stages. The amount of sludge gas produced varies from 0.014 to 0.28 cubic meter per capita. The sludge gas is normally composed of 65% methane and 30% of carbon dioxide gas, and the remaining 5% of nitrogen and other inert gases, with a calorific value of 5400 to 5800 kilocalorie per cubic meter. So, figure shows the first stage and this is the second stage. So, here the wastewater, or we can say sludge, is applied like this. This is totally recirculated, this is totally stirrer with the help of this arrangement provided, and here there may be arrangement for heating purpose, and then the total content is taken to the second digester, where again the digestion takes place, and mainly the separation takes place in second stage, that is water as a supernatant, scum and the gas, and both the gases are taken out through this outlet and goes for the separation purpose, because methane we have to separate from the other gases. Next one, design details for this. Generally these digesters are designed to treat a sludge of about 4 mld capacity. The tank size are not less than 6 meter diameter and not more than 55 meter in diameter. Liquid depth in the tank may be 4.5 to 6 meter and not greater than 9 meter. The digester capacity can be calculated by the formula V is equal to Vf minus 2/3 into bracket Vf minus Vd bracket complete, both bracket complete, into T1 plus Vd into T2, where capital V is the capacity of the digester in cubic meter, Vf is equal to volume of the fresh sludge in cubic meter per day, Vd is equal to volume of the daily digested sludge accumulation in the tank in meter cube per day, T1 is equal to digestion time in days required for digestion, and T2 is equal to period in days for digested sludge storage. So, by this formula we can find out the volume required for the digester. Next one, disposal of treated sludge, or we can say digested sludge. So, digested sludge can be disposed of by spreading on the land, then by storing in the sludge lagooning, then dumping into low lying area or into the mines, or filling land with a suitable sanitary landfills, and by disposing the sludge in water or into the sea. But generally this method is used along the coastal areas where ample water is available for proper disposal. Next one, UASP, upflow anaerobic sludge blanket reactor. So, this treatment or this reactor is developed by the scientist G. Lentiga in the year 1970 in Netherlands. The USB reactor is a single tank process for anaerobic treatment of wastewater and also for the sludge. It is the most popular anaerobic wastewater treatment system across the world. It is extensively used for industrial wastewater treatment and have several installations for municipal sewage as well. So, this is a sketch of a USB reactor in which from bottom the wastewater is applied to the reactor. Here there is a bed of the sludge, and in this bed the treatment of sludge takes place, or treatment of wastewater takes place by the anaerobic bacteria, and then whatever the gas bubble is there, it flows in upward direction, and the gas is collected by this pipe, and whatever the other floating material is there, it is taken out through this outlet. Next slide. In this there are different zones. First zone is called as inlet zone. By this inlet zone we are applying the wastewater or sludge uniformly distribution through the inlet. So, this is the inlet zone we can say, and through this inlet zone we are applying the wastewater uniformly. Second zone is called as sludge banquet zone, or it is also called as reaction zone. This zone holds granular biomass and allows biochemical reaction to take place in this particular zone by the anaerobic bacteria. Then next zone is called as settling zone or clarifier zone. This zone provides opportunity for solids for settling. So, settling of the solids take place at the bottom zone, and the fourth zone is the gas liquid separator zone, in which three-phase separator is there which separates the gas and the other solids. So, here the three-phase separator zone is there, and whatever the gas, methane and CO2 is taken out through this pipe, and the other floating material and the supernatant water is taken out through this outlet pipe. Next one. So, USB and its working principle. Wastewater enters from the bottom and flows in upward direction. So, through this pipe the wastewater is applied. This is the bed of the sludge and it flows in upward direction. Wastewater flows through a suspended sludge blanket where anaerobic bacteria breaks down organic matter by anaerobic digestion, transforming it into biogas and biomass. Solids are also retained by a filtration effect of the blanket and settling in clarifier zone. The upflow remain and the motion of the gas bubbles allows mixing without mechanical assistant. A gas liquid solid separator at the top of the reactor allows the gas to accept and prevent an outlet of the solids. So, here influent gas, this is the sludge bed, and through this sludge bed the wastewater flows, and in this the treatment of wastewater takes place by anaerobic decomposition treatment, and by this method the gas bubbles are formed, and that gas bubbles making the mixing of this effluent, and then the gas is taken out through this, and whatever the settled scum and we can say water is taken out through this weir which is provided over here, and this particular phase is called as three-phase separator technique, and whatever the sludge is there, it is settles at bottom and it is taken out the pipe which is provided at the bottom. Next one, UASB advantages: high BOD reaction rate, can withstand high organic and hydraulic loading rate, low sludge production, biogas can be used for energy and first requires scrubbing, no aeration is required for this unit, effluent is rich in nutrient and can be used as a fertilizer in irrigation. Disadvantages: treatment may be unstable and variable hydraulic loading, requires operation and maintenance by skilled laborers, long startup time to work at full capacity. A constant source of electricity is required for the operation of UASB. Not all parts and materials may be locally available. Requires expert design and construction for this UASBR. So this is all about UASB. Thank you.